Mr. Chairman, I rise to bring forth an amendment to be known as the Berry Amendment Extension Act.
The clerk will please designate the amendment.
Amendment number 8, printed in Part B of House Report number 111-9, offered by Mr. Kissell of North Carolina.
Pursuant to House Resolution 92, the gentleman from North Carolina, Mr. Kissell, and a member opposed, each will control 5 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentleman from North Carolina.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Berry Amendment has been in effect for over 60 years and has allowed the Department of Defense to purchase uniforms and other textile apparels as needed for our military to be made and manufactured here in the United States. We know that textiles has brought forth the Industrial Revolution to the United States from its very beginnings. But not any industry has been hurt any more than textile has in the last few years in terms of lost employment. Over 60,000 jobs have been lost throughout the nation in the last year. Over 8,000 of those jobs in my home state of North Carolina. Over 44 factories have closed. We have thousands of Americans that are ready, willing, and able to work, and we're being asked to consider a recovery and reinvestment program to put Americans to work. This amendment would simply extend the Berry Act to be able to have Homeland Security to purchase uniforms for the TSA to be made in the United States. It would accomplish what we're looking for in the Recovery and Reinvestment Act. It would put Americans to work, and furthermore, it would keep Americans working. We know that we have lost so many jobs in this area. We have the people that are ready, willing, and able to work. I worked in textiles for 27 years. I watched the jobs leave and good people be left wondering where their meals are coming from and how they're going to take care of their families. This is an opportunity to put Americans to work and keep them at work. And what could be better than using our money, our taxpayers' money, for that purpose, and to put uniforms on the people that serve us? I reserve the rest of my time.
The reserves the balance of his time. Is there a member claiming time in opposition?
I claim time in opposition, Mr. Chairman.
Gentleman from California is recognized.
It's not my intention to take much of that time, but I would yield 30 seconds to Mr. Westmoreland.
Gentleman from Georgia is recognized for 30 seconds.
Thank you. And Mr. Kissell, I'll yield to you. Do you think it's wise for your constituents that you're trying to help to spend $225,000 per job that pays $50,000?
That is the incorrect figure, sir, and it is less than that, and Americans are competitive. And if we're going to spend American taxpayers' money, let's put Americans to work.
Mr. Kissell, you think it's worth your constituents saying that in your district would pay $2 billion to create the amount of jobs that this is creating?
Gentleman's time is expired. Gentleman from North Carolina.
I recognize the gentleman from North Carolina, Mr. David Price.
The gentleman from North Carolina is recognized for
1 minute.
For 1 minute.
1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, I rise in support of the amendment of my North Carolina colleague, Mr. Kissell. Would apply to the Department of Homeland Security purchasing rules similar to those required of the Defense Department under the Berry Amendment, requiring DHS to purchase clothing and other textile products grown, reprocessed, reused, or produced in the U.S. and its possessions. The proposed amendment would give the Secretary of Homeland Security some flexibility to waive the domestic source requirements in cases where there are inadequate domestic sources to meet the department's needs. The department also makes clear that it would not apply when inconsistent with U.S. obligations under international agreements. I nevertheless have some reservations about how the amendment might restrict the department in carrying out its Homeland Security mission. The department's already subject to Buy American requirements. This would go significantly further in requiring 100% U.S. content of products, a target that could be impractical or unreasonably costly in some circumstances. However, I appreciate my colleagues' intentions with this amendment. I'll be happy to support the amendment with the understanding that some modifications may be required to ensure that it does not pose an undue burden on the
Gentleman's time has
department.
expired.
May I have 10 additional seconds?
Gentleman,
I yield 10 additional seconds.
gentleman's recognized for 10 seconds.
Happy to support the amendment with the understanding that some modifications may be required to ensure it does not pose an undue burden on the department, does not compromise the ability of the department to carry out its Homeland Security mission. I look forward to working with the gentleman to make any needed refinements going forward.
Time has expired. The gentleman from California.
No, I can't give you two, but ask President.
Gentleman from California. Gentleman from California is recognized.
Mr. Chairman, I yield 2 minutes to the gentleman from Pennsylvania.
Gentleman from Pennsylvania is recognized for 2 minutes.
In this $835 billion bill being described as a jobs bill, it's good to see Representative Kissell was able to offer this amendment to ensure American cloth is used for these uniforms. His arguments are compelling that we should support U.S. jobs.
Gentleman from North Carolina.
Mr. Chairman, I recognize the gentleman from North Carolina, Howard Coble,
Gentleman from North Carolina is recognized
for 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
I thank the gentleman for yielding. Mr. Chairman, this amendment will immediately help textile and apparel companies because it will cover all uniforms purchased by the Transportation Security Administration employees. The program can easily be expanded by the Obama administration to cover FEMA, U.S. Customs, Border Protection, and U.S. Immigration Service, nearly 100,000 uniformed employees in all. And as an aside, my friend from North Carolina has already mentioned it, but the apparel and textile sector has been plagued as a result of the dismal economic climate that we face now. They've lost over 60,000 jobs during the last 12 months. North Carolina alone has lost 8,000 textile and apparel jobs. 44 textile plants in America were closed during the past year, 14 in North Carolina. And not unlike my friend Mr. Kissell, I too come from a textile family. My mama was a textile worker, sewed pockets and overalls at the old Bluebell plant in Greensboro. So I know the significance of a textile check subsidizing the family income. I urge support of this amendment and urge my colleagues to support it as well, and I yield back.
Gentleman yields back the balance of his time. Gentleman from North Carolina.
Mr. Chairman, how much time is left?
Gentleman from North Carolina has 30 seconds.
I would just like to conclude by saying we're going to put Americans to work, making uniforms for those that protect us. It's a good use of tax money, and I yield back my time. Thank you.
Gentleman yields back the balance of his time. Gentleman from California yields back the balance of his time. Gentleman from California yield back the balance of his time. The questions on the amendment offered by the gentleman from North Carolina. Those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed, please say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The amendment is adopted.